Hello, my name is Kai, and today I'm going to be talking about the recent transfer news regarding Giovanni Leone and Marc Guehi, which has broken over the past few hours. Before I get into it, it'd be great if you could like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. But let's get right into the news. So let's talk about Marc Guehi because obviously this is the first deal that's kind of been broken through in the media. What we can see is that Liverpool are very close to a deal with Crystal Palace on Marc Guehi. We know that Steve Parish is a difficult negotiator. Palace even have dropped into the Conference League now, so maybe that's why they're also more keen to sell. I think that if we are going to get Marc Guehi, we have to guarantee him minutes. It's a World Cup year. I think we will. We can't really trust Joe Gomez to be really in the picture to play more than 10 to 15 games. So having someone like Marc Guehi, I think he'll get a lot of games on the right. He'll get some games on the left during cup games where Virg is not going to play. It's also going to help extend the career length of someone like Virgil van Dijk because he won't have to play in these dead rubbers or lesser important games. Additionally, Marc Guehi could also play as a 6, which is something I'm going to explore when I'm doing tactical analysis after I cover both of these center backs. Right now, it looks like the agreement's going to be around £35 million. I think that's a great value for England's current best center back. Additionally, Marc Guehi, of course, can play on the left and the right. He's a good ball player. He's not necessarily great in the air, but he's a good duelist on the ground, so that'll definitely be fine, especially if he's paired next to Virg or Ibu, depending on the game. Those two are both very good in the air. On the aggregate, it'll probably be fine. If it's between 30 million and 35 million, it's good value. If it is 30 million, that's incredible. Hughes deserves a massive round of applause to get that because Palace wanted 45 earlier. And I think because of our desperation with the current center back issue, that's why we're seeing us move so strongly for Marc Guehi and Giovanni Leoni. Now, it looks like we've already agreed personal terms with Marc Guehi, so the deal could be done today, it could be done tomorrow. It seems like it's moving very fast. And Paul Joyce has also confirmed this. Paul Joyce is the biggest seal of approval on Liverpool transfers, and if we are urgently moving in talks with Crystal Palace because we need these defensive reinforcements, I think this will be done today or tomorrow. And once it is, I'll do a more in-depth video on Marc Guehi. Now, speaking of Leone, he's also keen on a move to Liverpool. It looks like personal terms aren't an issue for him either, which is incredible for a young Italian defender to be leaving Italy and making a move to the Premier League. I think that's a massive coup for Liverpool, and hopefully he's the man who can break the Italian curse for Liverpool. We can see that Giovanni Leone is very excited about the Liverpool project. I know fabrication Fabrizio Romano, he likes to overinflate these things and he likes to engagement bait. But what we can tell is that Giovanni Leone is willing to join Liverpool and doesn't necessarily want to stay in Italy for his career. He wants to play at the top level. And if we can get this done in the region of 35 million euros, 30 or less million pounds, I think that's incredible. I think that'd be good value for someone who could develop into a Virgil van Dijk successor in the long term and potentially play as a right-sided center back in the short term if we need to cover injuries to Ibrahima Konate. So I think this is incredible business. I like that they're not seen as alternative options. I like that we're working on both. If you really think about it, we need 5 center backs. The reason is Ibu is injury prone, Gomez is very injury prone, and Virg is aging. Getting 2 solid center backs in will definitely benefit us, and it'll allow us to loan out players like Amara Nalo and Welity Lucky who have a lot of promise but are too error prone to be starting defenders for Liverpool, and maybe even too error prone to be trusted in lower level games. I'd like to see us do a Jarell Kwanzaa with them in the sense that we loan them out this season and let them develop and make their mistakes lower down in the pyramid. I wouldn't even be opposed to signing in another young center back on top of this, but that's effectively just me getting greedy. Okay, so now we can actually look at the tactics board and talk about what we're actually going to do. So this is what I think our best 11 is. You could put Sabo in here for the likes of Ryan Gravenberch. I wouldn't do a Sabo Gravenberch pivot, but I've talked extensively about that on Twitter. You could also put Bradley instead of Frimpong, depending on the opposition. Regardless, the 2 players that we're talking about right now are Marc Guehi and Giovanni Leone. Immediately, this is kind of their depth chart. I'd say Leone's probably Virg's backup. Guehi is probably Konate's backup, but Leone can also play here. I'm not really going to talk about Joe Gomez because, again, when is he going to be fit? But we can talk about how these players would play. I think if you have someone like Leone, you know that he can do a Virgil van Dijk impression. He can send these balls over to Salah or to Cody Gakpo. So it's definitely fine there. He's an elite ball player. The question with someone like Leone is always going to be, is he fast enough? Because to me, he seems roughly as fast as a Nathan Collins, but I really struggle to gauge pace in the Serie A. So I'm hoping that he's actually better than that. As for Marc Guehi, elite ball player. There's no questions there. No questions on pace. His desire to get to ground and tackle and intercept. He's an intelligent defender. The only issue is really his height. Great defender. He can play on either side, no questions. I think the main interesting point with Marc Guehi is let's take Grav out and put Guehi here. What you could do is get scenarios where Frimpong goes high and wide here, Urquez goes high and wide here, Vert's here, Verge goes out, Guehi comes in. So Guehi's playing the 6, and you get something like this. So Guehi, first receiver to Mac to Vert's the front line, which is still a 3-2-5. It's a bit more 2-2-6 or maybe a 3-1-6, but which I guess would be a little bit more Nagelsmann-esque, but it'd be very cool to maybe see this. Guehi can definitely play as a 6. He's played as a 6 for Palace at times. Of course, it's not his best position, but if we use the 6 to split the center backs like Grav did at times, like Sabo kind of did, like Jones did, except Jones drifted to one side, like you could instead do something like this because Guehi is comfortable on the left, and I do like Verge as the central center back. This is not a bad idea. This is definitely an option that Slot could have in games maybe where we want to defend more or we want more of a orthodox center back in that back 3. And if that's the case, I do like the Guehi signing a lot, and he effectively adds a body to midfield, which means that you can afford to have 1 or maybe 2 more signed young center backs alongside him. And then if we talk about Giovanni Leoni, take Verge out, let's put Gravenberch out to the side here. Leoni could easily play here or here. He's played in the center of a back 3 for Parma. I don't see a reason why he couldn't play out wide either in this back 3. So I definitely see Leoni making sense for Liverpool as well. So yeah, we've agreed personal terms with Marc Guehi. Both of these deals could be done very soon. But the saga that's been ongoing is that of Alexander Isak. Fabrizio thinks that he has a good chance of joining Liverpool. If that happens, I don't think we get Bradley Barcola. I think it's one of Ekitike or Isak out on the left, with both interchanging when one runs into the channel. Be very fluid football, and if you could remember the Palace game, which of course I'm going to have an analysis video out on it tomorrow, you can see that Gakpo was the weak link. Doesn't mean Gakpo's a bad player. It's just that he's not at the same technical level in terms of link-up play as a Salah, an Ekitike, or a Verts. If you have Isak in the mix, suddenly that changes everything. Of course, Barcola would do the same thing, but the worry is if PSG would even sell. But yes, Isak has a high chance of happening. We've seen that Isak is basically like renting out his home. He isn't playing or training. He's been told that he isn't for sale, but he wants to get sold. He saw Newcastle reject a British transfer record fee for him. He's definitely unsettled. He definitely wants to go. I don't think this is like a Napoli Osimhen situation. Like, I don't see him getting loaned out to a Turkish team or whatever. But I do see him getting sold to Liverpool, or at the very least, getting sold in January, because there's just no way. I think it's over. But there's not much analysis to do. You've heard what I've talked about with Isak and Ekitike and how they'd play together. But there's more positive signals for Harvey Elliott to go towards RB Leipzig. I think it'd be a great move for him, especially if Leipzig are selling Xavi Simons. Leipzig could also lose Openda. They've already lost Sesko. I think Harvey would be great there. He'd be closer to Jurgen again. Definitely not a bad idea. Of course, I would prefer to see Harvey go to a slower league like the Serie A, but I think anywhere outside of the Prem, Harvey would do well and it'd be good for his career. So I would like to see Harvey go to Leipzig. Stefan Bajcetic is coming back from injury now. A lot of people are really happy with this. Again, I don't think he's really going to ever make it at Liverpool at this point. I think there's 2 options. You either sell him now for over 20 million to a Spanish team like Valencia, or you loan him out for 1 more season, then reassess, probably selling then. Because Stefan's time's over. He had a really high potential, but injuries just killed him like a lot of our players. So best of luck to him. I really like him as a player, and we should include a buyback. Fede was told that he's essentially not leaving Liverpool this summer. I get it. We've lost Nunez. We've lost Diaz. Diogo passed. We don't have a lot of options in that forward line. Chiesa can play left wing, right wing, or striker. Very obviously a good player to have in those positions. He could potentially be second choice left wing if we want to protect Rio more. He can be second choice right wing. He could be our second choice striker. Definitely a good option to keep Chiesa around, and I still really want to see him succeed at Liverpool. I really wanted him after those Euros. And yeah, I really hope that he plays well at Liverpool, for at least this season. I hope Slot actually uses him this season. Love to see him stay. That song too. We need a full season of that song being sung around the Kop end. So the last thing I wanted to cover is that this is the clubs with the worst net spend in Europe this window. Liverpool aren't even in the top 5 here. Arsenal, Man City, Man U, Tottenham, and Real Madrid are ahead of us. Same with Chelsea. Both of our clubs sell really well. I think I was looking down in the comments and our net spend is only 97 million euros. Of course, Isak could add to that. Both of these center backs could add to that. But I think the thing that really matters is that as much as we like to spend money, we sell very well. It's good to sell well. It shows that your club is very well run. And anyone with a brain can see that Liverpool are, in fact, very well run. And that's a credit to Richard Hughes, to Michael Edwards, and to FSG. But that is all for this video. If you liked the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And as always, thanks for watching.